If you want to generate consistent free leads, by the end of this conversation, you're going to learn two unbelievable strategies that anybody can do, even if you're a new agent, have no money or no sphere, that is going to help you generate consistent, predictable leads, all with little effort. Now, we're going to be diving into Facebook strategies that are free, as well as Google business profile strategies of how you can start to rank locally with very little effort, only a few minutes every single day. Today, I've got the pleasure of bringing on Olu, who as a new agent, only 10 months into the business, is generating hundreds of free leads consistently, so many that he could barely keep up with it, leveraging these two incredible strategies that yet again do not require any money and only a little bit of time if you're consistent with it. So, two quick things before getting started. Number one, I will link Olu's incredible content below so that you can see some of the content that we're actually referencing and the examples that we're going to be talking about and breaking down. And number two, I will link Olu's calendar below in case you would like to chat with him about getting his direct support to help you build out this massive free lead generation system for your own business. So without further ado, let's break down two unbelievable strategies that really not many people are talking about or know about when it comes to properly leveraging Facebook as well as Google to generate free leads consistently. All right, Olu, well, really excited to have you on here, man. And you know, you've got some pretty incredible strategies that I know a lot of people are going to be curious about and excited about, but not many people are actually talking about. So, would love for you to introduce yourself, break down who you are, where you're from, what kind of got you to this point, and then I'm pretty pumped to start diving into what you're doing because it's pretty incredible.
Sure thing. Absolutely. Well, once again, my name is Odunaiya. I'm based in the Austin, Texas area. I actually live in Kyle, Texas, which is about 20 minutes south of Austin. And gosh, I've been in real estate now for about 10 months, actually. So just under a year. I have a tech background. I've basically been in the BPO field for about 20 years, working with different Fortune 500 companies as an operations manager, training manager, team manager, and project manager, right? And over the years, I've gone through a lot of layoffs and just trying to avoid those things, right? And so last year I was laid off again. I told myself, you know what? I'm done with the layoffs. I need to go ahead and start my own business. Real estate has always been the thing I've wanted to jump into, but I was so busy with work, I could never spare that kind of time. And so once I got laid off, I was like, this is it. I'm not going to go find another job. Let me get out here, get my license, go to school, and start this real estate career. And so that's what I did. While I was in school, I went to Champion School of Real Estate, by the way. While I was there, I met somebody who told me about Suman. I had already been watching Suman's videos at the time, but he actually happened to be Suman's next door neighbor. So he was in class as well. And so from there, I reached out to him. Suman told me a lot about the Wolfpack, told me a lot about EXP. And yeah, I went ahead and signed up and been there ever since.
That's awesome, man. Well, it's a pleasure to be a partner with you on this journey, and of course, Suman is an unbelievable role model, especially in the Austin market, and
Yeah.
he's now been able to reach thousands. But you've, in just such a short amount of time, you've been able to do some pretty incredible things, and I love this because I like to geek out over how people are leveraging different social and digital platforms to scale.
Sure.
And so you've really dove headfirst into both Google and Facebook. And I think Google is a really interesting one that is heavily underutilized. So I want to save that to the end. Let's start with Facebook. What are you doing on Facebook? Because I know you're generating a lot of free leads and apartment deals when it comes to leveraging a certain portion of Facebook's platform.
Yeah, absolutely. When I first got started, I was talking to my mentor and I was asking her, hey, do we do like any apartment leases? You know what I mean? She's like, yeah, we do, but not too many people do them. And I was like, why not? You know what I mean? And, a lot of what I heard from her and other people said, oh, we just don't do it. It's slow and things of that nature. But I had already been familiar with Facebook. As I said, I worked in the tech industry for a number of years. A part of that was actually working for Facebook Meta for 7 years, and so I was
Wow.
very familiar with the platform. I understood marketplace and how it's used, and I just thought to myself, well, gosh, I don't know of anybody here in my marketplace who's actually using Facebook Marketplace to get leads. And so I figured, you know what? I don't have too many home sales or anything like that just yet. Why don't I work on apartments and just see how that does for me? And so I basically just started reaching out to different property managers in my area, just checking out the properties, doing some tours, getting a chance to meet them. And I was like, okay, this is actually pretty cool. I don't mind doing this. Let me go ahead and start putting out Facebook Marketplace ads out there and just see what happens. And as I've been doing it consistently over the months, I'm getting, two, three, sometimes, four deals off of this every single month. And so it's been pretty cool. It's a great way for me, what I mean, to make some additional income while I'm also trying to sell houses and list homes. And so, yeah, it's a great deal.
Yeah, that's super cool. And so when it comes to Facebook Marketplace, I would really love to know what kind of strategy you're leveraging on there because I've seen people taking different approaches. I love Facebook Marketplace. When I was still in production, that's one of the things that I've actually used to close multiple deals directly on Marketplace. And
Sure.
it's heavily underutilized. And from my perspective, a lot of the agents that are using it are not using it properly. So when it comes to these apartment deals and Marketplace, what does a post for you look like on there, and how are you generating business off of that?
Yeah, sure. So basically, what I like to do first is research the property that I'm interested in, right? So, for example, we have brand new apartment communities that are just now being built. So, what I've been doing actually is I actually use a tool called apartmentdata.com. You can pay like I think it's about $60 a month for it. It's not really necessary to use, but I like to use it because the information that they have is being updated real time by property managers, right? And so I'll use that tool and I'll search for brand new apartments that are being built from like 2023 and up, right? 2024, like this year and up. I'll check the occupancy, see if it's like brand spanking new. Are they actually receiving tenants right now? And if so, I'm like, cool. Let me dive into these apartment complexes. I like to research the price point, obviously, if they have one bedrooms up to four bedrooms, and just see if the price kind of matches what apartment homes are kind of going for in the area. I like to look at the style, obviously, what type of amenities they have. I'll collect all this information after going to their website as well. And that's what I'll use to go ahead and throw into Marketplace. I think the key here is to be sure you're using high quality images. So a lot of the times the website won't have that. You'll have to go out there and get them yourselves. And I think that's a great excuse to get out there and just meet their apartment managers and get familiar with the location as well, right? So get the high quality images. Make sure you're using at least like 20 images, okay? Video is super important too. Images don't do it justice all the time, right? People kind of want to sit at home, put up their computer, and get like a live tour, and that's the kind of feel that I give to people by doing my videos on there as well. So all of that's important, as well as your description. I think the description is super important, right? What I like to do is I'll go to the website. Usually they'll have a description in the website itself, right? I'll take that description, throw it into Chat GPT, tell it to make it more like me, and it'll give me a brand new description that fits the exact way that I want it. And I'll throw that in there. I'll include the amenities. I'll list the different price points for a one bedroom, two bedroom, three bedroom, and tell them to just contact me at the end of that description. That's basically all it is to it. After that, it's all about follow up, right? As soon as you post that thing on Marketplace, you're going to start getting views, you're going to start getting clicks, and people are going to start reaching out to you via Messenger, right? The first thing that they always say is, hey, is this available, right? It's all about just being responsive to it, letting them know that, hey, yes, this is available. How can I go ahead and get you in there to get a tour set up, right? And then from there, it's about just getting their information and getting that tour set up and getting them on their way. So that's really all it is. I think the most important aspect of it is just being consistent, getting the listings out there, being consistent with the posts. That way you're generating the leads. But the leads come naturally, they just flow. It's all about getting them approved. So
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I love that. And I really like that you're taking a video approach to it because back in, 2017, 2018, when I was doing it, video wasn't as, popular and at the forefront as it is today. So I never touched on that. But I think today it's, essential at this point to be able to leverage that and give a different perspective. When it comes to that video, are you just using a phone and doing it, walking through, or what does it look like for you to actually record these videos?
yeah, that's exactly it. I'm getting my iPhone and I'm literally just walking in there. Before I walk in, I make sure all the windows are open. Usually the apartment manager just gives me a key and just tells me, hey, go ahead and have at it. You know what I mean? So I'll go in there, I'll make sure everything's set up just right. And then once I know it's set up just right, I'll walk right out of the apartment, close the door, start my video, open the door, and just start going through with my iPhone. That's all it is. Make sure the lighting is right, make sure I get all the aspects of the rooms, the furniture, just the entire appeal of it, right? And that's how simple it is. I'll load it up. Sometimes I'll do a little edit on, maybe Canva or QuickTime or something like that. What is it called? Caption cut. I forgot the name of it.
CapCut.
Right, CapCut, and I'll use that, make some edits. But that's all it is. I'll do it right from my phone.
That's awesome, dude. I think that's such an important, message for people. When you look at yourself, you look at Sum, and you look at all these people that are thriving with video, they're not overcomplicating it. They're just doing whatever is simple and scalable and allows you to just get the job done and keep going.
Exactly. I like to put myself in the shoes of the viewer, right? If I was looking for an apartment, what do I want to see, right? I just try to capture exactly what I would want to see if I was shopping for an apartment. So
100%. And so the last question that I have when it comes to Facebook, and I'm really glad that you brought this up, is the follow-up, because I think that's where the majority of agents struggle. Is they start to generate leads, whether it be Facebook ads, Facebook Marketplace, whatever they decide to do,
Mhm.
and then they get all these leads and complain that nothing comes to fruition. And the name
yeah.
of the game is in the follow-up. It's very easy to generate leads, but to close them is a
Mhm.
completely different ball game. So what does that routine look like for you when it comes to following up with all of these leads?
Yeah, what I like to do is put them on the calendar. I have a whiteboard behind me. I don't know if you see it, but each time I get a lead, I'll go ahead and reach out to them immediately, and then I'll throw them up on the whiteboard, and I'll put a date next to it. That tells me, okay, I need to go ahead and follow up at least, at the most 1 week later, right? If I don't hear anything back from them, and that's all it is. Follow up is key. Gosh, my mentor told me that as well. She really focuses on the follow up. If you miss the boat there, you're probably going to miss them forever, right? A lot of times your clients, your customers could be super busy with work, other things happen, and they just kind of lose their thought right at that moment. And so it's like, follow up with them, make sure they know that you're top of mind, that you're still working with them, that you're trying to get them their house, their apartment, whatever it might be. And so, yeah, that's all it is. I follow up with everyone after a few days if I don't hear anything back, and I'll check them off as soon as I do follow up with them, and I'll get a response back.
That's awesome. And are you following up with just Messenger? Because I know on Marketplace, one of the primary things is, you'll get a DM from them on Facebook Messenger, and you can really interact that way, which I love because it usually validates that it's an actual person versus a Facebook lead where you can get
Right.
some jacked up information. Are you
Yeah.
just following up via Messenger?
Yeah, I'm following up via Messenger. The thing is you want to kind of gain that rapport with them first. Make sure you get their actual contact information, an email, a phone number. That way you can kind of take it offline, take it away from Facebook, and start reaching out to them independently of that tool. And so, yeah, Messenger is the main way. If they're not responding, I'm going to follow up with them a few days later until I hear something back. You know what I mean? And once I do, then yeah, I'll get that personal contact information and we'll take it offline from there.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you kind of breaking down that Facebook strategy because, again, I see it so heavily underutilized. Everybody focuses on the Facebook ads, but Marketplace can be a gold mine. And, I've sold $1 million properties directly off of Marketplace, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, if people are not Googling, right, they're on
Yeah,
Facebook, you know what I mean? And they're looking for homes, they're looking for property, they're looking for land, apartments, whatever it might be. And so why not meet them where they're searching at? So yeah.
exactly. And so that kind of beautifully segues into what I'd love to talk about next, because you have, this omnipresence. And I think that's really critical as an agent, is to, not put all your eggs in one basket, but be able to leverage different platforms that really can lend itself to being able to build a predictable, scalable business. And for you, Google has been one of those platforms. And I love this because that, yet again, is one of the most underutilized platforms when it
Yeah.
comes to generating leads. Let's
Right.
unpack that. How the heck are you using Google?
Well, Google, I always thought of it as, if you're on Google, that makes you official, right? You're an official business if you
Yeah.
are on Google. And so I always just thought that, hey, it's important to be on there. So one of the first things I did once I got my license was start my Google business page, right? I got that going, went through the verification steps, got my little video out there to let them know I was a real person, real location, all that good stuff. And then honestly, Mike, the key to me getting everything going there was actually watching a video from one of our other Wolfpack members out in Canada. As a matter of fact, I believe Peter Talon is his name.
Yeah, Peter
Peter
Tooling.
Talon. Yes, Peter. So, gosh, great guy. I watched a lot of his YouTube videos, and then I remember that you had him scheduled to speak to us, and so everything he said for me was like just game. It was just
Yeah.
hot stuff for me. I was like, okay, this is exactly what I wanted right here, because I really wanted to focus on my Google business page, and he laid it all out. And so from there, I basically took everything that he was talking about and applied it to my own page, right? And I think the key there was to focus on your marketplace once again. So I call myself the greater Austin realtor, right? And a lot of my sales have been all over Austin. However, it wasn't until I started really focusing on my own area, my immediate area of Kyle, Buda, South Austin. That's when I started getting hits on my Google page, right? Because people are looking for specific homes in specific locations. And I don't rank as high if I'm just opening the floodgates to all of Austin. Austin is so huge. There's so many different aspects of it. And so I started narrowing it down. And that's what Peter was talking about. One of the main points that he was talking about in his walkthrough. And so I did that. I started creating product pages, right? My product pages are actually open houses. So
Mm.
I would basically go into Canva, create a graphic art of a specific community around my area, right? There's like Dripping Springs, there's Buda, there's a place called Six Creeks in Kyle, which is one of the most popular communities in the Kyle area. Homes there start at about 650, go up to just under about $1 million per home, and it's really popping there. So I made one for that, right? And it's basically just a picture of that area, Six Creeks, with my image in the middle, and it says open houses, right? That's one of my products. So if you click on that in my Google business page, you'll get a direct link to all of the open houses in that area for that weekend. And that link is directly linked to my KV Core site, right? So once they're going in there, obviously, if they're looking through there, I'm getting a lead that way because they're having to type in their email address and contact information. And that's how it works for the most part, right? I'm doing that. I have at least like 15 reviews there. And that's the thing. I was kind of struggling on how do I need to get my reviews. Well, I was pretty active on LinkedIn. I've been in the tech world for a while. And so I just reached out to my LinkedIn friends and told them, hey, would you go ahead and do a review for me? Sent them a link to my Google business, and bam, the reviews started coming in. And so that also enhances, I guess, the professionalism of your page, right? It shows people that, hey, people know you, they work with you, they trust you. You might be a good person to reach out to for my real estate deal. And so that's basically all it is. I'll keep it updated. As soon as I have a new product, I'll put it there. If I have an open house, I'll throw it in there. If I have a new listing, I'll put the image in my Google product page. And it all just helps you rank higher as more and more people interact with that business page.
That's awesome. And one of the most important things that you talked about, and I'm so glad that you went in this direction, is niching down, because that's probably the greatest mistake that I see agents make when it comes to Google My Business or Google Business Profile, is that the assumption is, if I say I just service everywhere, I'm going to get more people, right? Bigger area, more people, more business, more leads. It's great. But that really isn't the case, because then you end up competing with everybody else and your
That's the thing.
ranking just, you know,
That is so true. When I was looking at the rankings, like just doing general searches like Austin Realtor and stuff like that, right? There are so many people that
yeah.
are ranked way, literally thousands of people in the Austin area, other realtors who are ranked way above me. And I just thought it was impossible to compete against that. So I'm like, let me just focus here in Kyle and weigh my chances that way. And it's totally changed the game for me by doing that. So,
Yeah, it goes back to that age old quote that the riches are in the niches or niches. And it
so
couldn't be more true, because
yeah,
when you can start to cater all of your content to one specific area, your ability to rank and become recognized as an authority in that area is so much superior. And I also think, as this whole NAR settlement chaos starts to unfold and things start to change, I really think that, specialists in whether it be an area, a type of property, a style of buyer or seller, versus generalists, specialists are going to win long term, and people are going to start to seek out the specialists because they're going to be able to justify their commission more than a generalist that just can happen to do it, but it's not what they know inside and out.
so true. Very true. I agree with that 100%. I mean, being able to do this and kind of separate myself from the pack of realtors that are out there, the huge pack of realtors out there, it's been really it's been just great to actually be able to separate myself honestly by doing it in this way. And so I feel real confident in my business now because of it. It's continuing to grow, and yeah, I just think it's looking up from here by just doing that. So yeah, on the heels of this NAR settlement, yeah, I think it's actually going to be a good thing for those who are serious about their business and wanting to separate themselves. And so yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things that I'm curious about, because I know you mentioned Peter Tulin, and he's, absolutely crushing with Google Business Profile.
Yeah.
What does the consistency and cadence look like for you? Are you going in there weekly, daily, monthly? Because what I see from most people when it comes to Google Business Profile is they set it up and then they leave, and they're kind of like, okay, I'm set up, I'm established, I'm verified, see you later. And
Yeah.
it just becomes a sitting duck. How
Mhm.
often are you in there, and how often are you posting and engaging?
Yeah, so I'll go in there at least once a week. Um, Usually, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to be as consistent as I need to be as far as putting my blog post in there, right, as another product. And so I've started a blog a few months ago via my KB Core website. And once I create that blog, I like to create once again another image, and I'll link it inside my Google business page. And so I'm trying to do that, just that, at least once a week on there. If I do have a post on IG, on Facebook, or anything like that that I feel like makes sense to have on Google Business, I'll go ahead and put that in there as well. So I'm in there at least once, twice a week, making some type of update. I'm also taking things down from Google Business as well, right? And so if I just sold a house or something like that that's no longer on the market, I'm usually taking that stuff down. And so I try to keep it updated. Every now and then I'll reach out to other people who I may need to follow up with who haven't given me a review yet. Hey, can you get me that review? Make sure that gets in there. Once they give me that review, I'm always sure to respond to that review as well. Just to let people know that, hey, I'm active on there. Every time I get a review, I'm going to see it. I'm going to respond to that person.
That's such a important takeaway, because most people don't know when you respond to a review and how timely you respond to that review, it
Mhm.
actually impacts your credibility and authority score, and thus ranking, because it
Right.
shows that you're active and you're acknowledging, the customers or consumers that you've been able to work with. And I also think it's really important that you ask for that. I think a lot of agents kind of have this stance where they don't want to ask for a review. They feel almost guilt or some sort of shame about having to ask somebody for a review, but that's the cornerstone of your business. And the truth is if you actually did a good job and you don't get a review from that, there's going to be somebody out there that could have worked with you, wanted somebody that does what you do, but worked with somebody else because they didn't hear a message from somebody that had the same journey, right?
Very true. Yeah, absolutely. Very true. I mean, yeah, put it all out there. Let people know that, hey, you're not just in this business just for the kicks, right? I mean, this is a serious business for you, right? And so asking for those reviews are vital. You know what I mean? They show the world that how well you work with others. You know what I mean? If you have one person that can vouch for you and be like, hey, yeah, this person did me right. This person is a great person. They really helped me with a problem that I needed a solution for. Other people are going to see that and be like, okay, there's proof right there in the pudding. Let me go ahead and work with that person, right? I mean, it's just like going to like, before you decide on going to a brand new restaurant, right? You go to Yelp, you try to figure out what those reviews are. If they're good reviews, that kind of helps you lean towards going to that restaurant, right? So it's the same thing as a business person. And so,
Definitely. No, I love that. And, an avenue that I'd love to explore a little bit more is you brought up blogs. And I think that yet again is a heavily underutilized avenue for ranking, for SEO, for exposure and lead generation. And that's actually one of my big priorities, before the end of this year is cranking that up on my end too, because I realize I've missed a ton of opportunities by not having a consistent blog structure. What does that look like for you? What type of blogs are you creating? Are you using ChatGPT? Are you writing it yourself? What does that process look like for you?
yeah. So what I like to do is I try to, see what's trending out there, right? What are people looking for? One of my most recent ones was about what do you do or how do you prepare to go on an open house? Like, what should you look for? How should you be prepared for that on the weekend, right? And so I wanted to do a blog on that. And so once again, I used ChatGPT, right? I went ahead and just put in some information about what I thought people might be looking for, and I wanted it to expand on that. And it gave me an excellent, blog to go ahead and use for it. You know what I mean? Then I used ChatGPT to help me create the best title for this blog. That way I get as many viewers as possible. People, making sure it has keywords in there and things of that nature. And I implement that and put that in my blog, and then that's what I put into my Google business page. And so when people are typing in Google, searching for that specific term, bam, my blog is showing up for that, specifically in Kyle. And so I want to say 90% of my views from my blog are coming directly from Google. And so,
Wow.
so it's been very helpful.
That's really cool. That's, again, it's when you can start to create a streamlined process around this, it really isn't that exhaustive of an effort to do this on a consistent basis, but it has so much opportunity to tap into yet again. I think it goes back to that blue ocean versus red ocean is, the majority of agents in any market are all doing the same approach to lead generation. They're calling FSBOs, they're expireds, or they're putting out the same content, or they're, doing the same things. But when you can sidestep and do it a little bit differently, it's not that it takes a ton more effort. You just be consistent and it can yield some pretty incredible results.
That's the key, is consistency, 100%. And I know that's something that you talk about a lot, Mike. It's something that Suman talks about a lot too. I mean, build yourself a calendar, right? And just do it. It's all about just doing it. You know what I mean? Like in the back over here, I have blog posts Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, right? I have IG posts scheduled on certain days. And so if I just get in my office and do it, it's a wrap. It's a done deal. And I just have to remain consistent at doing that. As so long as I do that, more leads are going to be generated that way. And that's been helpful. Now, there are days that I miss. I got to admit, there are days where I'm not being as consistent as I should be. But I know that if I am as consistent as I place on my calendar, things are going to be good for me. And so, yeah, it's all about consistency, 100%.
Yeah, and I think that's, a relatable conversation is that even, somebody like myself where I harp on consistency all day long, there's days where it just doesn't go as planned. And I think a lot of people beat themselves up over that and kind of take this stance of, oh my God, I'm falling apart. And they go from being consistent to missing a couple days to doing nothing instead of getting back on track. And I really love that you have that whiteboard behind you to kind of be that physical, tangible reminder of what you need to do. What does that weekly routine look like for you when it comes to having that mapped out, just so that you can wake up and easily know what you need to do and when you need to do it?
Honestly, every single night at the end of my day, I'm at that whiteboard and I'm making updates to it. I'm throwing things on there that happened earlier in the day. If there's, a possible prospect that I looked at, hey, I need to follow up with them on this particular day. Um, Going through my IG schedule. Hey, I need to go ahead and do a post on this day, or I need to put out a reel on this particular day. I'm just going through everything before I go to sleep, so I know exactly what I need to hit on the following morning. And I do that every single day. Honestly, there are things that change, obviously, because other things happen, other schedules come into play. But so long as I write it down, I'm a visual guy. I have to see
Same.
what I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? And so long as I write it down, that's my guide to success every single week.
100%. And I really love that you do it the night before. I do a very similar process where Sundays I block off a couple hours to map out the week. But as you alluded to, throughout the week, things come up, plans change, things come out of nowhere, fires and this, that, and the other thing. And, so every night I'll do a review and say, okay, what got jacked up today? What do I have to now do tomorrow to get this,
Right.
back on track? But time management and priority management is so important. And I love that you've taken this approach of saying, yeah, there's all these other lead opportunities, there's all these other things that I can be doing, but these two things work, so I'm doing these two things religiously.
Yep. That's it. That's it.
That's awesome, man. Well, you're coming up to your first year. And one of the things that I'm always curious about when I talk to agents that, are either within that first year or just finished their first year is any mistakes or any best practices and words of wisdom or advice for somebody that, is either just getting started or didn't really have a good first year. What is your kind of opinion on that?
Gosh, I have a lot of opinions, right? But I'm glad I went through it all, right? Because
Yeah.
it's all a learning aspect to it. I guess one of the biggest things for me is like, don't get inundated with all of the other stuff, right? As soon as you get your license, you're going to get emails after email after email asking you to buy into this, do this training. And you said this as well, like don't get inundated with that stuff. Focus on the work, right? Within the Wolfpack, you have it all laid out for us what to focus on. And even at the beginning stages, I was like, yeah, Mike, you're right, but I got these emails and this looks interesting, and let me
Yeah.
get involved in this, you know what I mean? And it just turned out that was just a waste of time, you know what I mean? It totally was a waste of time. And I really feel like the first few months in real estate for me was all wasted because I was so worried about getting as much training as possible instead of just getting out there and doing it. You know what I mean? And so for me, that's the biggest thing right there. It's just getting out and doing and just being consistent with that doing. Super
100%.
important, super vital to the success of that business. And yeah, I would say that.
Yeah. And one of the things that I'm curious about, and I'd love to know, your response to this is, I also think there's an element, yes, you need to get outside of your comfort zone, but also it's important to be able to lean into things that are in alignment with your skill set and your passion. You kind of talked about the fact that your background is tech based and tech focused, and you've got experience in that. So naturally, it makes sense for you to lean into a tech focused approach. What's
Mhm.
kind of your thoughts around being able to lean into something that you either are already good at or are excited about, because you probably are going to be more consistent if you actually enjoy doing it?
Yeah, I mean, leaning into something that you're excited about, that you're already good about, that's going to be your bread and butter. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I said, I've worked with Facebook for 7 years. You know what I mean? I love the aspect of the platform that they have there. I know how to utilize almost every aspect of it, even the paid tools, right, for advertising. And so if I choose to do that, I'll go ahead and do that. But Yeah, that's what I'm good at. So why not kind of leverage that, right? Leverage my contacts in the tech industry. Working with different tech platforms that are just now coming out. I just heard that today Canva purchased Leonardo AI. That's a huge thing for Canva. So after this meeting with you, I'm actually about to jump into that and see what that's going to be all about and figure out how I can utilize that within my business. Chat GPT, of course, you know what I mean? I feel like that's a necessary thing to have within the business. I'm a tech guy, so I feel like it's necessary. But anybody who's not tech, I think it's going to be good for them. You know what I mean? But why not lean into that? I enjoy learning about different technologies that can help the world in so many different ways. And so if I can utilize that within my own business, why not? So
Yeah, dude, that's awesome, and I think there's such an important element of just always staying, at least if not ahead of the curve, on top of the curve, and being
yeah,
aware of what's at your disposal. Because there's so many people that are struggling because they say they have no time, but now we have all these tools that allow us to create massive leverage of our time and no longer have that excuse. I think a lot of people use that as a crutch or an excuse to not, do the work that they know they need to do. But really, in today's day and age, there's not much of an excuse anymore.
no, there isn't. Anybody can do it with the tools that are available. Once again, it's all about wanting to do it, actually doing it, and being consistent at it. If you fail at any of those, it's just not going to happen for you. And so, once again, it's a matter of just being able to separate yourself. And by separating yourself, it's really just taking the action and doing it. You know what I mean? If you're
Yeah.
doing that, you're by far going past 90% of the competition by just taking the action because most people are just not going to do it. And so, yeah.
100%, dude. Well, it's a pleasure just to be able to hear the details of what you're doing. And the last thing that we always like to pull this together with is, we're partners. We've got you, myself, Suman, and it's a blessing to be able to go on this journey together. But I'm always just curious as to, what your experience has been like being at the Wolfpack, and also what can people expect if maybe they're struggling in their business and they want to align with somebody like you and Suman. What
Mhm.
can people expect when deciding to reach out and partner with you?
Mike, I love the Wolfpack, man. I totally love the Wolfpack and everything you and your organization does. Yourself, Connor, Suman here in Austin, John Michael here in Austin,
Yeah.
Jordan. These guys are great leaders, right? And I'm so glad I joined EXP Wolfpack specifically because of the camaraderie, the amount of help that's available. I have a mentor outside of the Wolfpack. She's great. She's awesome. But it's also great to have people like John Michael and Jordan
Yeah.
who are constantly available, not just for you, but everybody within my locale. And so having that direct contact, being able to just shoot off a question and they just respond just like that, I just feel like I constantly have support, as much support as if I was in an office, honestly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, but being able to do it from the comfort of my own home, it means the world to me, honestly. And so, and then just adding like your educational material on top of it, I feel like there's just, you have a lot of information, a lot of material. I haven't gone through it all yet. And I feel like it's just a plethora of things that I can use to help improve my business. And just knowing that that's there and I can refer to it whenever I want, or just go back and watch some of your videos, go back and watch some of Connor's videos. It's great. It's absolutely great. So anybody who wants to join EXP, join the Wolfpack, just know that you're going to be in great hands. The support is phenomenal. Phenomenal. The learning tools that are available are phenomenal as well. And there's just nothing like it. So yeah,
Well, I
I'm definitely
appreciate that,
happy to be
man.
there.
It's awesome to have you, and again, the fact that people get to partner with you and be able
Yeah,
to get your experience as a new agent that's built so much incredible momentum, but then get the help of people like John Michael and Suman and myself. There's a lot of agents right now that aren't really where they want to be in their business, and there's a different option out there for other people that maybe they need to explore. And so,
yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
I love everything that you're doing, man. I'm going to make sure to link all of your incredible content below, as well as your calendar links, so people can jam out with you and, see what that looks like. But, any
Cool.
final words for people that need to kick it into gear this year?
Man, once again, just consistency. Again, you know what I mean? Get out and do it. And, and if it's not even real estate, if it's something totally different, just, be about your craft. You know what I mean? If you love what you do, be consistent at it and promote yourself as if you're the best at it. You know what I mean? You may not actually be the best, but act like you are. You know what I mean? People
Yeah.
are going to see that enthusiasm about you. They're going to see how confident you are about your product, about your services. And so long as you're consistent, I think things will work out for you 100%. So, like I say all the time, just go out and make it happen.
I love it, brother. Well, that's the perfect way to finish this up. Again, I appreciate your time, your experience, your, pouring into everybody about everything that you're seeing success with. And, I can't wait to see what you do in that next year because you've got some epic momentum. And again, guys, go check out every link in the description so you can follow along with Olu's incredible journey.